Benvenuti sul canale YouTube in compagnia di John Romita Jr. Ora, grazie a Feltrinelli e Image Comics, vi consiglio una bellissima intervista.
Ho sempre curiosità di scoprire la persona dietro le opere, quindi ti chiedo, qual è la tua routine giornaliera mentre lavori?
My name is John Romita Jr., Sono John Romita Jr., and I'm an artist for the comics industry for many years. I have a set formula for my day. I get up early, I go to exercise, I come back and I weld 12 to 15 hours each day, and I love every minute of it. And I will do it for as long as I physically am capable. But I love to draw, and I do rough drawings to begin and finish the artwork the next day. And every other day, I do roughs. Every other day, I do finish. Capisci?
Un artista di fumetti è spesso soggetto al giudizio dei lettori e tu sei spesso al centro di molto dibattito. Cosa ne pensi di tutto questo e soprattutto con l'avvento dei social media? Qual è il tuo rapporto con le critiche?
One of the most wonderful things about this business is the reaction from readers. One of the horrible things is the reactions of the readers, because not everybody loves my work. I think it's half and half. I believe it's much like politics. Half of the country will hate your president, half of the country will love your president. With my work, I've been told I am very polarizing. I don't know if that makes sense, but that means that everybody has extreme opinions of my work. I was told by the most wonderful man I ever met in my life and the greatest artist I ever met in my life, that if you do not have a thick skin, capisci, then you will be miserable. I have a thick skin and I'm okay. I know that there are people that like and do not like, and that's all right. That's art.
Cosa ne pensi dell'intelligenza artificiale? È una minaccia per gli artisti o un utile strumento?
Artificial intelligence, if this can benefit this business and bring the business to the levels that it was many, many, many years ago, I'm all for it. I don't know enough about it yet, but I'm very simple. I need pencil, paper, and eraser, especially eraser. And that's all I need. But artificial intelligence, if it can advance the business and make me a better artist, salute.
Come detto in precedenza, in simili occasioni preferisco conoscere l'uomo dietro l'opera d'arte e quindi ti chiedo 3 film o serie TV o libri o fumetti che preferisci, che consiglieresti a chi è all'ascolto di questa intervista?
If I had to choose 3, I cannot believe I'm being asked this question. If I had to choose 3 projects that I have worked on in my career, the first one that comes to mind is the work with J. Michael Straczynski, because of one horrible thing. It's the 9/11 issue. It's the project I'm most proud of in all of my years, for a horrible reason. I would suggest that because I think Scott Hanna, myself, and Joe Straczynski did the best work we've ever done in our careers. That's one. The other is a project with Frank Miller called Man Without Fear. Aside from the 9/11 issue, I think it's the best work I've ever done, even 30 years later. That's what it's like to work with Frank Miller. But my favorite work of all time is the work I did with my father. And I'll tell you why. He fixed everything. Everything I did wrong, he made look better. So those 3. But one in particular is a cover that became a poster, Spider-Man on top of a building top in the rain. And I say it's my favorite because my father told me at the time that he thought it was the best work I'd ever done. That means a lot to me. Films. I think comics and films are right alongside each other. And I think that directors and producers should ask creators to make films because we have the ideas. The greatest films of all time is Finding Nemo, The Godfather, On the Waterfront. But there are reasons behind them. It would take too long to explain. But the easy thing is, I saw Finding Nemo 7 times with my very young son. I cried every time. The Godfather, because it's the greatest film ever made. And On the Waterfront, because it's a film that my father told me was important to see for storytelling and film direction.
Ci provo. Sappiamo che ad aprile arriverà un nuovo rilancio di Spider-Man dove tu lavorerai insieme a Pepe Larraz e Joe Kelly. Puoi dirci qualcosa?
All right, I haven't worked on Spider-Man in a few months. I am told that I will start over again in the springtime. I know nothing. I'm only a husband, so I know nothing. I'm only an artist, so I know nothing. I'm only a male, so I know nothing. I am told I will start again in the spring. I look forward to it. Joe Kelly's a brilliant writer. I work with Scott Hanna and Marcio Menez. All 3 of us work on one project. 3 artists, brilliant artists. I'm very happy. When it starts, I will believe it. I don't trust my luck.
Questa domanda e la prossima sono state selezionate dalla Cap Community, che ringrazio come sempre per il supporto. John, hai vissuto negli anni 60 a New York, città dove la cultura del fumetto americano è davvero importante. Tante storie sono nate lì e vivono lì. La tua crescita, insieme anche ovviamente alla figura di tuo padre e anche la crescita stessa del fumetto, come hanno influenzato nel quotidiano la tua vita, pensando magari anche al fatto che un personaggio come Peter Parker vivesse la tua città?
One of the only things that I am very proud of about being brought up in New York City is that we were raised in an area of immigrants, Italian, African American, Hispanic, Jewish. Wonderful experience, aside from artistic, was to experience these wonderful cultures. My father taught me this on a personal level, my mother and my father. And it also translates into artwork, because my father, who was a brilliant artist beyond this business, one of the greatest illustrators you have ever heard of in your life, but did not know of. He taught me so many things about art that I did not know were connected to personal life. When he was growing up, after coming out of the war, the Korean War, he became an artist. And I watched him draw, and it made me want to be an artist as well. But his influence was not just artistically, it was personal. Everything he said to me was correct. There's always somebody better than you somewhere. Bigger, better, stronger, better looking. Well, not better looking. Nah. Bigger, better, stronger, smarter, and better artist than you. But everything he said translated to personal life. And he grew up in such a horrible time, the Depression in the United States. And growing up, learning how to earn money, except what the sole purpose was to feed his family. So I learned the artistic part, the personal part, and also the work ethic. This man worked days on end without sleep, and it's how he taught me to work hard. So his influence, not just comics, art, personal life, life in general, all because of that one man, the greatest man I ever met. God bless.
Il tuo legame con Daredevil è molto profondo e una delle tue opere più importanti è L'uomo senza paura insieme a Frank Miller. Ti chiedo, pensi che un personaggio come Matt Murdock abbia sensibilizzato i lettori al tema della disabilità?
A great segue to Daredevil from my father. And I mentioned it, I'll try to be quick. When I was very young, I was having nightmares one night, horrible, horrible nightmares. And I went running up to the attic. In Queens, we pulled the door down and climbed the stairs up to the attic. And he was working for days without sleep. And I was crying from nightmares. And he said, what? I said, sit down and watch for a few minutes. To that point, he had only been doing romance comic books. Suddenly, he was working on a Daredevil comic book. And I walked up and I stopped crying. I said, what is this? And he went to describe a superhero to me. He says, you know, you've seen Superman and Batman in the barber shop. This is Daredevil. He's a superhero. It's very special. He got his powers through an accident, radioactivity. And he said, and he's going to beat up all of these bad guys. He says, you know how you see bad guys all the time in New York? Well, Daredevil is a hero, and he's going to stop all of these bad guys all by himself. And he was surrounded by bad guys. And apparently I stopped crying and he says, oh, and by the way, Daredevil is blind. And from that moment, I sat and watched him for 3 more hours, and he talked to me about art, about superheroes, but he mentioned Daredevil. And I find out many, many, many decades later the importance of Daredevil, not just as a superhero. He's a blind superhero. It's a disability, and he succeeds beyond it because he has special. The old story is that when you lose any of your senses, your other senses make up for it and make you. Your hearing, your strength, maybe, your touch, your smell. This is why Daredevil is a great character. He lost his sight and became a superhero. That conversation with my father made me want to be an artist. I sat down and I was drawing on the floor of the attic. And he spent 3 hours with me. God bless him. God rest in peace. He spent 3 hours with me without sleep, and he talked as if I was a salesperson and he wanted to tell me what was going on. And because of that conversation, those 3 hours, I'm an artist now, 50 years, 60 years later. That's because of that conversation and because of Daredevil and the Daredevil's disability. I learned so much in that 3-hour conversation that I could never, ever explain to anyone. I apologize, but he was the best thing about my life. All right, I'm not all upset anymore. It's so important that I tell this to everybody that reads and everybody that purchases this product. Without you, I would be driving a cab somewhere in New York City. You are the most important part of this business. Yeah, we create interesting ideas, and I'm an artist, but without you asking for this, we would not be able to produce any of this. God bless you all. Ciao.